Welcome to this model. In this model, I am going to speak about antenna subsystems. The antennas carried abroad a satellite provide the dual function of receiving the uplink and transmitting the downlink signals. They range from dipole type antennas where omnidirectional characteristics are required to the highly directional antennas required for telecommunication purpose and TV relay and broadcast. So, directional beams are usually produced by means of reflector types of antennas, and the paraboloidal reflector being the most commonly used antennas. So, the gain of the paraboloidal reflector relative to isotropic radiator is given by the equation G is equal to eta I into pi d by lambda the whole square, where lambda is the wavelength of the signal and d is the reflector diameter and eta is the aperture efficiency, and the typical value of eta I is 0.55. The 3 dB bandwidth is given approximately by the equation as theta 3 dB is equal to 70 lambda by d degrees. The ratio d by lambda is seen to be the key factor in these equations, the gain being directly proportional to d by lambda the whole square and the beam width inversely proportional to d by lambda. Hence, the gain can be increased and the beam width made narrower by increasing the reflector size or decreasing the wavelength. In comparing the C band and KU band, the largest reflectors are those for the 6 by 4 GHz band, and comparable performances can be obtained with the considerable smaller reflectors in the 14 to 12 GHz band. Satellites are used for mobile services in the L band employ much larger antennas with reflector areas in the order of 100 meters square to 200 meters square. And here the figure shows the antenna subsystem for the Intelsat 6 satellite. This provides a good illustration of the level of complexity which has been reached in large communication satellites. The largest reflectors are for the 6 by 4 GHz hemisphere and zone coverages, and these are fed from horn arrays, and various groups of horns can be excited to produce the beam shape required. As can be seen, separate arrays are used for the transmit and receive. Each array has 146 dual polarization horns. In the 14 by 11 GHz band, circular reflectors are used to provide the spot beams, one for east and one for west. These beams are fully steerable. Each spot is fed by a single horn which is used for both transmit and receive. Wide beams for global coverage are produced by simple horn antennas at 6 by 4 GHz, and these horns beam the signal directly to the earth without the use of the reflectors. So in this diagram, a simple biconical dipole antenna is used for tracking the control signals. Tracking and control signals on the complete antenna platform and the communication payload are D-span as to keep the antennas pointing to their correct location on the earth. The same feed horn may be used to transmit and receive carriers with the same polarization. The transmit and receive signals are separated by a device known as diplexer, and the separation is further aided by means of frequency filtering. Polarization discrimination also may be used to separate the transmit and receive signals using the same feed horn. For example, the horn may be used to transmit the horizontally polarized waves in the downlink frequency band while simultaneously receiving the vertically polarized waves in the uplink frequency band. The polarization separation takes place in a device known as orthocoupler, that is orthogonal mode transducers. Separate horns also may be used for the transmit and receive functions, with both functions being using the same reflector. And in Morlos and the SatMax 5 system, the communication subsystems, and the two such satellites were launched by Morlos A in June and Morlos B in November 1985. The satellites are from the Hughes 376 spacecraft series, and these satellites had a predicted mission life of 9 years, and Morlos A being retired in 1994 and Morlos B was scheduled to remain in operation until 1998. The payload carried in Morlos illustrate what is referred to as hybrid dual band payload because it carried C band and K band transponders. In the C-band, Morlos provided 12 narrowband channels, each 36 MHz wide, and 6 wideband channels, and each 72 MHz wide. In the K-band, it provided 4 channels, each 108 MHz wide, and the 36 MHz channels used 7 watts TWTAs with a 14 for 12 redundancy. This method of stating the redundancy simply means that 12 redundant units are available in 14 in-service units. Okay, and the 72 megahertz channels used 10.5 TWTAs with 8 for 6 redundancy. In the 4 K-band repeaters used 6 20 watts TWTAs with 6 for 4 redundancy, and the receivers were solid state designs with 4 for 2 redundancy for the C-band receivers and 2 for 1 redundancy for the K-band receivers. And the Hughes 376 series and 180 centimeter diameter circular reflector is used for the C-band, and this forms a part of a dual polarization antenna with a separate C-band which feeds the horizontal and vertical polarizations. Morlos provide the C-band footprint pattern, and the Morlos K-band reflector was elliptical in shape with axis measuring 150 by 31 centimeter. It had its own feed array producing a footprint which closely matched the contours of the Mexican landmass, and the K-band reflector was tied to C-band reflector, and the on-board tracking of the C-band beacon transmitted from the TTC station ensured precise pointing of the antennas. On December 5, 1998, the SatMax 5 was launched with an expected life of 15 years. SatMax 5 is a Hughes 601 HP, which is a high-powered version of the Hughes 601 satellite. The antenna footprints have been expanded to cover the whole American continent. In the KU band coverage area, it will be possible to receive the direct-to-home, that is DTH television broadcast on antennas 6 cm diameter or less. So SatMax 5 occupies the 116.8 degree west slot on the geostationary orbit. The Anik series of satellites are designed to provide the communication services in Canada as well as cross-border services with the United States. Early satellites such as Anik C and D were both Boeing 376 models. Anik E was the first of the body satellite stabilized satellites used in the series, a dual-band satellite which had an equivalent capacity of 56 television channels or more than 50,000 telephone circuits. Attitude control was the momentum bias and 3-axis stabilized type, and solar sails were also used to provide power. The capacity being 3,450 watts at summer solstice and 3,700 watts at vernal equinox. 4 NH2 batteries provided power during eclipse. Although Anik E has been superseded by the Anik F series, the Anik E configuration provides an good illustration of the body stabilized type of satellite, shows of the C-band transmitter setup. And this is seen to use solid state power amplifiers, SSPAs, which offer significant improvement in reliability and weight saving over traveling wave tube amplifier. The antennas are fed through a broadband feeder network to eliminate the ROS reflectors, and national ASK distinct from the regional coverage is provided by C-band. The TWTA abroad satellite also may be switched to provide the redundancy, and this scheme is shown as the 4 for 2 redundancy, meaning that 4 channels are provided with 2 redundant amplifiers. For example, the channel 1A has amplifier 2 as its primary amplifier, and the amplifiers 1 and 3 can be switched to as in backup amplifiers by ground command. Thank you.